And hello and welcome, everyone. Murray Krampus, Matt. It's that special time of year. It's Wednesday. It's Christmas Day as this video drops. And of course, we are here with all of our friends helping give you the greatest gift of all, distraction on this day. Maybe there's family visiting you don't like. Maybe you gotta take a long car ride. Hey, maybe you're alone this Christmas season. Don't worry. Matt and I got you. We're back again with another Comic Multiverse movie club, and this is a specifically, fan-centric episode because, Matt, you and I had a hard time actually picking what Christmas movie we want to cover this year, and thankfully the fans had our back. We had a little poll, and it was decided we're going to be doing Gremlins.
Yeah, I put a poll up and we had something like close to 400 people come in and vote. I got very, very close there for a little bit between this and I believe Die Hard, I think was the other one we put in the thing. But the Gremlins won out, and I'm kind of glad it did because this is a movie I haven't seen in 20 years.
Yeah, that's about the same for me too. I am amazed how much I actually forgot about this movie when I actually sat down and watched it today as we got ready to record. I had a real problem of mixing up this movie, but also the sequel, but also weird lore shit that came out later. So I had a real Bernstein Bear situation when it came to remembering Gremlins. I seemingly remember the second one with John Glover and like the company and everything Hulk Hogan.
More than more than this one. Like there was very little of this one I actually remember.
Yeah, and again, it's shocking how it all kind of bleeds together, and also because Gremlins was one of those movies, the often imitated, never replicated. It kicked off kind of a whole sub-franchise of killer creature, killer small things movies. You got, your ghoulies, you got your chuds, and everything else that were basically just kind of, trying to do their own Gremlins-esque take.
Yeah, there was that. There was Critters. There was, Ghoulies, The Gate. Like, all these films, little things attacking children or, like, a family in, like, a small town.
Often imitated, never fully replicated. Hell, even another movie I like a lot and that we almost covered, Krampus, from a couple years ago. Very similar. It's a Christmas horror movie. There are little killer things. Obviously, there's Krampus, but Krampus has his own, like, Silver Surfer-style herald. Much like Gremlins, it's a horror movie, it's a creature feature, but it's also a comedy. It's supposed to be funny.
We should have gone to my brother's.
Yes, Gremlins is like one of those films that kind of heralded the horror comedy in the early 80s. That was a thing that wasn't really a thing. I had been done every now and then, but like it was something that was really popularized by this and like Ghostbusters, which actually released the same day this did.
No shit, really? Wow, what a time.
Yeah.
But then again, I guess 1984 is like one of the greatest years for like movies of all time.
Yeah, it's a pretty damn good year.
Also, despite being a Christmas horror comedy, this movie actually came out in June, didn't it? So they completely missed the Christmas season with this one, but you don't have to miss the Christmas season when you watch this one with us.
Yes, you can have Christmas in July.
Yeah, how about that? Which we say as we record this near the tail end of November to try and get it out in time. I wanted to get like my big Santa hat. I wore my nice Christmas cardigan for this, but I don't even have any of my decorations out right now, so I'm like, damn it, I'd have to go down to storage and dig out the hat for one bit. I'm not going to do this just for the bit.
I haven't got any of my stuff up just yet. That's happening next weekend, but with no Christmas stuff in this. Or maybe I'll put like a Christmas border around our things.
There you go. Make it really nice. If you're anything like me out there, and I'm sure you are, you keep saying, I'll do it next week, I'll do it next week, and then you like don't do it till like the week of.
Yep.
And then you fight with yourself and be like, I'm not even going to put up Christmas decorations this year. I am an adult. I don't even have that many family or friends. I'm not even going to put up decorations. All right, fine, I'll put up decorations.
You eventually come around into the spirit of things,
That's the real horror, fighting with yourself about Christmas as you get older. And in many ways, this movie is kind of about getting older. But we'll talk about that when we get to the end. But I want to really dig into the idea. What is Gremlins about? Does it have a message? And if so, what is the message saying?
It's about gremlins, and they get into your things, and they mess up with your things. It's about the gremlins, yeah.
Yeah, it's about gremlins not of the mind. It's of outer gremlins. See, that's what they need to do for that third one they got coming up. That's what it needs to be an allegory for. Mind gremlins, shit you just can't get over. Absolutely. But yeah, so it's our special Christmas episode, everyone. So, sit down, relax, get some hot cocoa, get some Christmas cookies, and we will try and entertain you on this Christmas morn as we talk about Gremlins, maybe one of the most influential movies of its era.
Absolutely, yes. Let's jump right on into it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll start. Obviously, at the start, we get the father, the inventor, Rand Peltzer, who's kind of trying to hawk his wares. He's trying to hawk the Peltzer bathroom buddy.
Yes, the bathroom buddy. It's like a Swiss Army knife for the bathroom, which honestly, not a terrible idea. Back when I used to travel all the time for conventions, I could probably use something like this. The problem with that, though, is that if you lose your bathroom buddy, then you don't have anything.
Toothbrush. You got yourself a toothpick. You got toenail clippers. You got nail file. You got yourself a dental mirror.
Yeah, it's all in like it's like this giant block with like a razor, toenail clippers, toothpaste dispenser, all this stuff all on it, and he's trying to find a place to sell it, but also he's trying to find a gift for his son because he's a traveling salesman. And of course, when you're a traveling salesman, you go to the Chinatown. You go to the Chinatown that looks all very sinister and different because it's white man going in and experiencing it differently. It reminded me that this intro reminded me of the intro to Hellraiser because it's almost exactly the same, where it's like this white guy going into like a foreign like marketplace area and buying a mysterious artifact.
Yeah, there's another thing where it's like you really start to feel the 80s-ness of this movie where it's like, is this a little anti-Chinese? Is this like a little, Asianophobic? Because there's this where it's shot incredibly scary with the dad who's maybe too dumb to know where he is and what he's doing, and then even later with the neighbor, Mr. Fetterman, is like, you can't trust them foreign machines. And I'm like, oh yeah, that was kind of the general vibe and feeling of America in the 80s, right there, where it's like, oh, the Chinese are going to eat us alive, we need to be ready for it.
Obviously, a Cold War and everything like that. I think that also gets mentioned in here as well.
Yes, there's some little references there. It's obviously not as gross and uncomfortable as something like RoboCop 2, when the evil Japanese companies or anything, but it's very close. It's almost close to Orientalism in some cases.
Getting there. It's almost there, yeah.
It's almost there. I appreciate, too, the dad being an inventor, being a wacky, mad scientist inventor. That is just an archetype we do not see anymore in fiction. Is that because no one's inventing things anymore?
Yeah, we don't really see that anymore. And I was thinking about that when I was watching this, because we see more of his inventions later around the house, but like that was like a thing that happened in the 80s in these films, because you got like this, you think of stuff like Back to the Future, just like characters who like invented things and things that like look really cool and were interesting. And yeah, I can't think of like the like a modern like version of that.
Is it because no one builds anything with their hands anymore? Is it because anyone who is that type of minded now, they'd be making like a shitty app or like farming crypto or something, so we have lost the good-hearted, wacky inventor with his Rube Goldberg machine and everything?
Yeah, if Rand was around in 2025, he'd be using, I don't know, Grok to try and come up with his inventions, and that's why they all fail, because he used Grok.
That is so sad and so true. And again, too, well, I guess one of the big, thrusts of this movie where it's like, hey, is he a good dad or not? Because, he seems to be putting a lot of stress on his family. He's a traveling salesman who's not making a lot of money, who is kind of ignoring them because he is putting so much time and effort into these failed inventions. But still, though, he's at least thinking of his family when he's gone. He's at least trying to find a cool gift for his son, Billy, maybe to try and make up for being such an absent father for as long as he is. It's just, the thing he finds ends up opening a Pandora's box of comedy horror.
I'll give you $100 for him.
No.
Look, I've got to have him. It's a present for my son for Christmas.
Yeah. And I mean, he is absent for much of the film because he's like traveling, and then he does the whole thing where he comes home where he's like, oh, what's going on here? I didn't see what's going on here. Yeah. But no, he ends up getting his son a mogwai. He ends up buying it from this Chinese store owner's grandson who wants the money probably for himself.
Yeah.
And yeah, we learn the rules of the mogwai right off the bat, which I really like. They just like kind of drop you into it and you get into it and you're like, all right, these are the established rules of this universe. We're going to see them broken one after the other.
There's 3 rules you've got to follow. Keep him out of the light. He hates bright light, especially sunlight. And keep him away from water. Don't get him wet. But the most important rule, never feed him after midnight.
It is kind of amazing how utilitarian this movie is with its plot and especially with its lore. Yeah, here's the mogwai. It is our magic creature of the piece. No, that word isn't even vaguely Chinese. We're moving on. You get 3 rules that you can't break. No, we're not going to tell you where the mogwai are from or why they do what they do. We're going to show, not tell, and we're not going to bog this all down with a lot of lore and a lot of exposition. You have to imagine if they made this movie today, they would have to spend way more time explaining where the hell the mogwai actually come from and what the deal is. Apparently, in the novelization of the first Gremlins movie, they actually say that they're aliens, though they will eventually end up completely going the other way on that explanation. I think in 2023, Netflix did like an animated series, which was the first new Gremlins thing we did forever. In that, they explained that the mogwai and the Gremlins, or corrupted mogwai, them even being called Gremlins, is kind of one of those things where it's like they call them that, but that's not what they call themselves. They are supposedly the invention of Chinese gods, 2 warring deities who wanted to test mankind's capacity for good and if they could follow rules or not. So one god gave them the gift of the mogwai, these fun-loving, silly creatures. The other god invented the rules and also kind of tried to fuck mankind with the rule, because one of the rules is you can't feed them after midnight. Well, the god who gave the rule said, well, you can't feed them when the moon is the highest place in the sky. And I'm like, see, that makes sense, because technically, isn't it always after midnight somewhere?
Somewhere, yeah. Yeah,
I'm glad they eventually retconned that later to be like, no, that rule was created solely to screw with you, because I'm like, yeah, it is always midnight somewhere. You mean to tell me these magical little creatures, these Furby grandpas here, they always know when it's midnight? Always? Biologically, they always know.
Yeah.
But yes, no food after midnight, don't get them wet, and they hate the light. Too much light can actually kill them.
Yes, it can burn. They're like vampires. It'll just burn them away.
Yes, which is a lot to put on your child. Where it's like, yeah, this would be a great gift for my son. You know what? He loves rules.
Yeah, you say it would be a lot to put on your child, and it would if the child was like 10 or 11, but
Fair.
Here Billy Peltzer is like, what, he's like 17, 18?
I mean, I assume
like he's older. He's a little older.
He really is, and again, this is another thing I Bernstein Bears'd in my mind. I assumed that the main characters in Gremlins were children, but obviously that's not true, because not only does Billy Peltzer, this guy's son, have a job, he's the main breadwinner of the family. He's driving around. He's going to bars and drinking, so he is at least of drinking age in this. And the girl he's after, Kate, also works in the bar. So yeah, they gotta be like 18 to 20 in this, actually.
Yeah, so to be fair as well, the movie doesn't make it so that like Billy is the one who kind of sets all of this off, whereas like he doesn't follow the rules. It's everyone around him who doesn't follow the rules, because we have like young Corey Feldman come in and like he's the one who spills the water.
Great, thanks a lot. Sorry.
He's the one who spills the water on Gizmo and ends up horrifically making these other gizmos.
Yes,
and then we got the doctor, the scientist who gives it the food and everything.
Yes, if anything, Billy is actually the most responsible person in the entire movie. He has kind of been forced to grow up before his time and is pretty much putting the entire world on his back right now and not getting a lot of respect from anyone. You know, he has a dream. He wants to be a cartoonist, man. mad. He wants to do comics, which I totally forgot that's a subplot. And obviously, as comic fans ourselves, I'm like, oh, that's really awesome, actually. And later, we actually get to see his comic collection. He's got some old Conan the Barbarians. He's got some House of Mysteries. He's got a poster on his wall for the Road Warrior. So good taste, this Billy. Definitely the sort of protagonist that I can see myself in, can relate to, and definitely want to root for the rest of the movie. So this movie knows its audience, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I feel like we're probably going to say it a lot, but like this movie has things in it that we don't see in movies anymore, and it's like this, like a kid who's like the geek, who is like the main character, and like he's like, he wants to be a comic artist, he wants to do this and that, and like things we don't really see main characters do anymore.
Well, we say he's a geek, but he's that very particular 80s archetypal awesome loser. I like to call them the awesome loser, where it's like, he does comic books and he doesn't get no respect and he doesn't get the girl, but he's like movie star handsome and he has an awesome room.
Yeah, his room is so cool, yeah.
Like, I instantly thought of like Hey Arnold's room, and like, now there's a trope we don't see anymore. We don't see awesome room man caves where he has great movie posters, a ton of the best comic books, and a bunch of art supplies to do his own art, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is the 80s awesome loser, where he's a loser because the movie keeps telling us he's a loser, even though in reality, like we said, he is very well put together. He is the main breadwinner of his family. He is trying to connect with his father, even though his father is a little distant. His mother is clearly feeling the stress and everything, but he's nice to everyone, and yet the world keeps shitting on him.
Yeah, because we get to see a little bit of his life working in the bank. He has a dog named Barney who is just great and like smashing up pottery from the neighbor and like property mogul Ruby Deagle, this old woman.
Yes, mean old Mrs. Deagle, who you say she's old, but it's clearly a much younger actress who is putting on old lady makeup.
Yeah. I do like that setup where like she's comically evil too. Because, like we also get like hints like the town isn't really doing well either, because like a lot of people are like
losing their homes.
Yeah, he's like having to like work this job where his parents can't really work, and we get that like woman who comes with like her sick kids to Mrs. Deagle. It's like, we got jobs but we're not going to get paid for a while. Can we have like some like leeway here? And she's like, no, give me your house. I'm going to take your house and burn it. Yeah.
Mrs. Deagle? What? I just wanted to let you know that Joe got himself another job. My husband, Joe Harris, and I've taken up some sewing on the side.
Mrs. Harris, what are you trying to tell me?
I'm afraid that neither one of us will be paid for 2 weeks. Just give us a little more time.
Mrs. Harris, the bank and I have the same purpose in life, to make money, not to support a lot of deadbeats.
Even his neighbor, Mr. Fetterman, the guy who coins the term gremlin in this, is drinking himself into an early grave at Kate's bar there because he's lost his own job. And Kate even says, it's kind of an epidemic all over town, which is funny because you never really saw that in 80s movies. 80s movies were usually American exceptionalism, Reaganomics, everyone's making money, everyone's doing really good. And yet here we see a small town America, not unlike the town that I came from, that is actively being devastated right now by forces out of their control, and real life villains like Mrs. Deagle, who comedically evil in this movie, and yet now when I stop and think about it, she hates dogs, she literally wants to kill this young man's dog, and she's mean to service industry people. Nowadays she would just be in like politics and like running Homeland Security now.
Yeah, she just be like an everyday thing I wonder if that's going to be in the new one that's coming out. Right. They'll have like a Mrs. Deagle analog where she like, I don't know, runs the local like Walmart stand-in or something that wants to like commodify the Mogwai or something, Right.
I mean, hey, we do see that she had a husband who was committing white-collar crimes before his death. Yeah. Maybe they have a kid or a grandkid we've never seen.
Yeah.
See, writes itself. That's how you do a legacy sequel. Another thing we kind of didn't talk about as we jumped into this one, the creative team behind this movie is just a killer's row of some of the finest and most beloved creators. It's produced by Steven Spielberg, it is directed by Joe Dante, and it is written by Chris Columbus, who this would kind of start off his long film history with Christmas, because Columbus is, of course, the guy who would go on to do Home Alone and then eventually do the first couple Harry Potter movies. This dude friggin' loves Christmas, and the fact that this is a Christmas horror movie is why I think it's stuck in so many people's minds, because it's just this beautiful mashup that you don't always get, or at least you don't always get this well.
Yeah, it's a Christmas horror film that isn't a slasher, because Christmas horror films are often slashers.
For whatever
you have
reason.
the built-in, you have the built-in like, oh, Santa Claus, what if he like started murdering people sort of thing.
So many movies come up with that same idea, and so few of them ever actually do an interesting take on that concept.
Yeah.
What if Santa but evil? What if Santa but kill people? Yeah, what if?
Yeah.
But why? But why indeed? And so yeah, we see Billy, he's just living his life there. He's getting shit on from absolutely every corner. He's got, the other guy who works at the bank being a total dick to him, being like, you'll never amount to anything, Rock, you're a loser, you're a bum, it's the 80s, you need to have money.
Look, I'm a junior vice president at 23. By the time I'm 25, I'm gonna have Mr. Corbin's job. By the time I'm 30, I'll be a millionaire. Look at you. You're practically supporting your whole family. The world's changing, Peltzer. You gotta change with it. You gotta be tough.
Yep, good old Judge Reinhold. I forgot how stacked the cast of this movie
really is.
Of just like people who you wouldn't think about, but like in the this time in the 80s were like that's like a big actor in this time in the 80s, like Judge Reinhold. You have Dick Miller as Fetterman.
Yeah.
You've got Phoebe Cates as Kate, the girlfriend. The guy who plays Mike Ehrmantraut on
Breaking Bad is
Breaking
the young
Bad,
deputy here. He's Deputy Brent, and then the other cop, that's Dean Norris, right? The other cop?
I don't think so. I don't think that's Dean Norris in this one. No.
Okay, but
looks
he's
like him though. It looks like him.
Okay, see, that confused the shit, but he's another famous character actor too. But yeah, stat cast of people who either were stars or who would be on their way to becoming huge stars. Of course, we mentioned Corey Feldman, who was still a cute kid actor at this point before the world and substance abuse crushed the ever-loving shit out of him and forced him to undergo his own gremlin-esque metamorphosis into the person that he is today, if you've ever heard him talk.
Yep.
And speaking of talking again, we mentioned it previously, but it bears repeating. The voice of Gizmo, all the little coos and all the little half words that we know, that's comedian Howie Mandel who does that, which is really shocking that this is probably one of the most famous things Mandel ever did. And also yet another guy where if you've listened to him, even just in the last year, it's like, man, I wish you just kept talking like Gizmo, half words and coos. I wish you stopped talking in whole sentences. That's why when they do a third one, what they need to do is they need to get Mark Maron to be the voice of the new Gizmo is what they need to do, just to really stick a middle finger to Howie Mandel.
Yeah. Get someone who is actually like a decent person.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah. Merry Christmas to everyone but Mandel.
But yeah, no, the Mogwais and Gremlins, they're like voiced by him. I think Peter Cullen does some of the voices.
You get two Transformers.
Jim Cummings. Yeah, Jim Cummings, just like all the usual guys who would do like the voiceover stuff for stuff at this point in time, did like noises or something for a Mogwai or a Gremlin.
Mm-hmm. And they are, like, even by today's standards with how far special effects have come, they are wildly impressive. They are a combination of puppetry, stop motion, early animatronics, and they just look good. They are infused with so much character. The film pretty much, hinges entirely on them. And what I think is hilarious is that one of the notes that Spielberg got from the studio when they were making this, no shit, they actually said to him, there's too many gremlins in this movie. You need to tone it down a little bit. to which Spielberg famously wrote them back and said, all right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to remove all the gremlins from the movie. We're going to call it humans moving forward. How about that?
God, every time you hear like of a studio note, it's like the dumbest shit ever.
Yeah, right? It's like, who are these people who can only fail their way up in Hollywood to make such absolutely ridiculous comments as we need less gremlins in the movie called Gremlins?
Yeah, goddamn.
So what happens next, Matt?
So yeah, Rand brings the Mogwai home and gives it to Billy, and then gives him the rules and everything, and I really love the animatronic of Gizmo. It looks so good. It's like, it's Baby Yoda version 1.0.
Thank you. I'm so glad you beat me to that. Yes, it is the exact same appeal that would one day give us Baby Yoda. And also kind of Furbies is the thing I never really stopped and thought about, but I'm like, a Furby is basically just an off-brand Mogwai, isn't it?
Yeah, they look similar. They act similar. Yeah, it very much is.
Another thing that completely threw me for a loop coming back to watch this movie again after 20 years, I forgot that no one pitches a fit about the Mogwais and that everyone is like super cool with this like magical creature that they've never seen before just moving on into the house. Everyone's like, that sounds great. We're cool with this. Great idea.
Yeah, or if you're Corey Feldman, just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. It's fine. They're cool, I guess, yeah.
There's a magical creature in your home that can speak real words, and everyone is just so nonchalant about like all of this. Even when they go nuts and start killing people, they're like, man, kind of nuts, huh? Merry Christmas.
Yeah, the 80s, man. Everyone was on like some form of drug, so they didn't know what they were seeing.
Everyone is doing lines off screen. That's why everyone is so super cool with it. Where it's like, yeah, Gremlins, killer monsters and everything, but what we need to do is open a restaurant and buy a boat. Anyone can come. Even Gremlins can come. But yeah, so they get a new pet, and everyone is like super stoked about it. The dog's not as stoked. I know Joe Dante, I think on the commentary for this movie, said that he was a little embarrassed looking back to how many reaction shots the dog got in this movie.
No, I think it works. I think it's good. I like Barney. Barney is a very lovable dog.
Same. I looked it up before we started, but I actually learned the dog's real name, and the dog had a very funny real name.
Oh, what was it?
Oh, it was something like Beans or something. He had like a very funny real name for a dog actor. And man, this movie breaks a lot of rules, doesn't it? Because they say never work with children, never work with animals. This movie has a really prominent animal, a really prominent child actor, and then to top it all off, a bunch of animatronics and, advanced special puppets that apparently broke down all the time. This movie was a nightmare to work on by all account, because none of these effects worked when they were supposed to.
Yeah, I can imagine they probably didn't work all that well. I do love, like, when you hear about that sort of stuff, like, that. Yeah, they broke down all the time, but, like, somehow that all managed to like come together and give us what we got, and it like works.
When they say movie magic, that's actually what they mean, because you don't know the hours, the sleepless nights that were spent trying to make this damn robot gremlin thing move its mouth in time properly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and then what happened?
Yeah, well, we get the first rule is broken, which is the water, where Billy's friend Pete spills the water on Gizmo, and it's kind of horrific as well. Like,
it really
Gizmo goes, starts like fizzling and like going into screaming, going in convulsions, and it pops out like all these little like mothball sort of things that then turn into other Gizmos.
Which again, they're just so nonchalant and laid back about this. Like, that was weird. I mean, I guess we'll keep all of these, even though these ones act completely differently and are much more mischievous, and one has a white stripe and seems to be the leader of all of these other ones, but I guess we'll just have to deal.
Yeah, I feel like if this was done in modern times and like someone saw this happen, someone would realize that these things are a little mischievous. Let's kill them with hammers.
Yeah, right? Yeah, no one once brings up the let's kill it with hammers idea, because I think at that point I'd be pretty freaked out, but then again, I have seen a movie like Gremlins, so I know to be afraid. Now, in the 2023 animated series, they actually give a concrete reason as to why these new Mogwais born of of water are different than Gizmo, and the idea is that part of the ancient Chinese god curse is that any new Mogwai would be mischievous and vicious and try to transform into their corrupted form for the first 1,000 years of their lives as another middle finger to humanity to try and teach them a lesson. So that leads to this crazy idea where it's like, wait, so Gizmo is like over 1,000 years old? That's why he's chilled out and cool? Because he's actually older?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, think about that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so like there is a reason. It just took them almost like 30 years to write a reason as to why.
It's that thing where it's like at the time they like none of that story existed. It's like we don't care,
Yeah.
little Gizmo like weird gremlin things. But like nowadays we have to have all that explanation for some reason. I don't get that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and like in fairness, none of it matters because this is a movie that is a moves so quickly. You wouldn't really bother to ask those questions, and two, it's a show don't tell movie. Hey, these gremlins are different because they are different, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, so but Billy brings the new Mogwai to his science teacher to study. This is where things all start kicking off because we learn that the Mogwai are a little bit mischievous. They end up creating the cocoons that will then later birth the gremlins.
Yes, in their full corrupted form. I appreciate Billy in the black and white TV in his room. They're playing like 1930s, 1950s science fiction movies. And one of the movies on the TV, we see a cocoon burst with a bunch of gross little alien monsters. I'm like, that's a nice little bit of foreshadowing. Actually, this whole movie is filled with excellent uses of foreshadowing. In Billy's house, every time he comes in, he knocks like some decorative swords off the wall, and everyone does that like twice, only later for the swords to be used. And I'm like, that's foreshadowing. That's Chekhov's gun. You set that up earlier so you can pay that off later. Likewise with the bar where Kate, the girl Billy has a crush on, works. We set up the bar nice and early because that's going to be a major venue for later.
Yeah, we also set up a lot of Rand's inventions around the house because Billy's mum ends up using one later on to kill one of the gremlins.
Does she ever? Another major inspiration for this movie was Looney Tunes. Joe Dante was a big Looney Tunes fan, and you can see, the slapstick, brutal comedy fingerprints all over this one. And hell, later on in the big toy shop scene, we actually get some Looney Tunes plushes in there. So yeah, the comedy is supposed to be violent, and it's supposed to be funny cartoon violent, and I think they do it.
Yeah, no, it is very funny. I do think a lot of I did read somewhere that the studios like didn't really fully get that like this was a horror comedy. They thought it was like a horror, and they couldn't understand why. This like, well, why is this like being done for like a laugh? Why is this being done this? Like one of the ones was later on when Kate talks about her like dad's death,
which is an amazing scene.
Yeah, and how that's done as like that's kind of like a dark comedy gag, and they're like, oh, well, we want this removed because we can't tell whether it is meant to be like serious and sad or like kind of funny, and yeah, they fought to like have that left in.
Firemen came and broke through the chimney top, and me and Mom were expecting them to pull out a dead cat or a bird, and instead they pulled out my father.
Yeah, they had to fight tooth and nail for that scene. What's even funnier is apparently that scene and that, story she tells about finding her dead father in the chimney after Christmas, that wasn't originally her story. That story had actually been shared by a couple different people in the script before they eventually gave it to the love interest and gave it to her. And honestly, I'm glad they did because it makes her character really click, as she is like the one person in this town who doesn't like Christmas, who's a holiday depressive, and even that in and of itself is kind of subversive for an 80s movie like this. No, everyone loves Christmas. Everyone loves Jesus. Yep. If you're sad at Christmas, you're a goddamn communist. So I think that's another reason this one kind of stood the test of time, to have a character actively go, no, I don't like Christmas. People are depressed this time of year. Suicide rate skyrocketed. I'm like, yeah, that's true. That's a real ass statistic.
Yeah, and also the story as well. It kind of sounds like it happened to someone. like that's kind of like maybe a real story. Maybe not exactly how it happened, but it is being told. But like something around that, like, oh yeah, someone fell down a chimney and died.
It sounds super accurate. Crazy too that, Columbus, a guy who loves Christmas and loves, making it the backbone of so many of his movies, he says what inspired him in the script for this is all of the rats that lived in the roof of his house as a child, and he imagined the kind of adventures they got into and all the mischief with their scurrying, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's a fun story, but also tells me so much about your childhood and your upbringing, and that's so funny for a guy who writes stuff that is like, bright and colorful and, all Christmas themed, but also, people die and get mutilated and, burglars step on glass and fall downstairs, and I'm like, it's all starting to come together. We're creating a real psychological profile of you, Chris Columbus. And the Gremlins themselves, the corrupted designs, they look awesome, don't they? They're all gross and gooey and scaly, and the main one has like a big white mohawk and everything, and the sounds they make, the sound design on this one is really good. We haven't actually gotten to the official Gremlin theme, but the official Gremlin theme is like one of those all-time great theme songs.
It's one of those themes where it's like, I had completely forgotten about it because I hadn't seen the film for a while, but then once I heard it again, I'm like, oh yeah, this is the theme. Yeah, I've heard this like recently on something.
It's sense memory, and it's another one of those things where it gets used so much as shorthand to be like, yes, from Gremlins, but of course.
Yeah, but yeah, the Gremlins look really cool. I love the practical effect of them, where they're literally just like puppets that are just like, we'll stand it on the counter and kind of move its arms a little bit, and it works. It works.
Now, a crazy thing about this movie too is it was actually supposed to be way more violent and way more brutal. The mother, as we mentioned, gets into a really cool fight in the kitchen where she has to defend herself with knives and her husband's inventions, and she throws one in the microwave and, nukes it to death. Originally in the script, and I think even in the novelization, she doesn't survive. She actually gets decapitated, and Billy comes home and finds her dead body. And I'm like, yeah, I see why you changed that. That kind of hurts the comedy.
Yeah, you can see like the start of like, oh, this could have easily been like an R-rated like horror comedy or like something a bit darker, where like we get to see people die. But like the people that do die in this film, it's always done for like a comedy, like we'll see later with Mrs. Deagle and then Futterman and all of those people. Yeah.
Well, apparently the Fetterman's deaths too were much more brutal, and they died for sure. I think they come back in the sequel, and I think we hear on a newscast later like, oh, the Fetterman's in the hospital in intensive care. So I think they actually survive their comedy death. They just almost die.
Almost die, yeah, but Mrs. Deagle definitely dies.
God, I love that so much. There is almost nothing funnier to me than someone hilariously getting thrown out a window, and this is maybe one of the most hilarious window throws of all time. It is perfectly staged, perfectly pulled off, just mwah.
Well, she doesn't get thrown out of the window. She gets like catapulted out of the window.
Again, yeeted like it was a goddamn Wile E. Coyote trap. And the like dumb slack-jawed yokel cops who have been drinking all night because it's Christmas Eve, their reaction is the best. They are also hilariously nonchalant and hilariously unmoved by the whole thing. Oh, I think that was Mrs. Deagle.
They are, and then when they find out that it's all real, that like what Billy had told them is real, they're like, oh yeah, okay, then like how are we going to deal with this?
They kind of don't.
Yeah.
Again, we joke before, in these horror movies, cops by the design have to be absolutely useless. No more than here, because it only seems like there's two cops in the whole town. They're drunk, and even when they see Gizmo, even when they see an actual Mogwai, they're like, huh, how about that? But they don't believe the rest. But yeah, so the mom totally messes up the Gremlins. It's absolutely awesome, but ooh, Stripe ends up getting away because he is already working on his villainous master plan to create more, because when a corrupted gremlin gets wet, it just spawns more gremlins. It doesn't spawn more mogwai. And that the pool scene is probably my favorite scene in the whole movie, because it is so creepy with the green water and the mist and everything. It actually gives me like a very Hammer horror, like a Dracula or a Frankenstein, like it's alive moment, where the water becomes basically a witch's brew. Great stuff.
Yeah, it looks really cool where they like pull out and like the pool is like bubbling and the green light underneath and like the mist and everything, and then we get like an army of gremlins.
Gremlins who I'm assuming are more intelligent than the mogwai, because we see them sabotage multiple different machines. They can use guns. That's the craziest thing to me. Gremlins are just totally cool using human guns.
Yeah, the final act of this film is one of them like brandishing a handgun against our main character,
which he just finds in a case in a mall, and I'm like, well, it is America in the 80s, so of course guns would be easier to come by.
Of course, yeah.
Even now, I think it's like, whoa, hey now, sir, you can't come into the mall unarmed, depending on the state you're in. Here's a gun. Here's a walking around gun that you're gonna need.
He's a loner. It's one of those guns. It's got like the big hubcap connected to it. Got to return it.
Look, we can't have you walking around on Black Friday unarmed. Well, we're not stupid.
What is this? The communist Russia? Yeah.
What is this? The People's Republic of Canada? Not on our watch. The Caliphate of Australia? I don't think so. See, look, everyone, that joke is fine because Matt and I were sure to make fun of ourselves, so it's okay. But yeah, so the city is, the city, I say it's a city, it's a town, it's a very small town, but a really nice looking town too. They capture the main street super well because, we see Billy having to walk there on his way to work. Then we see it at night and all the Christmas decorations are out. The fresh snow has fallen as this horrifying, writhing mass of gremlins make their way through the town, causing untold amounts of chaos.
Yeah, and they get the news, the radio starts reporting on like weird, like goings on, and I like the like running thing of that DJ, that disc jockey who like first doesn't believe it, then like he very clearly gets attacked by them, and then he comes back at the end and was like, I don't know what the hell happened there, but that was weird.
I love the idea that there was just a whole other movie happening of this guy and his radio crew having to defend themselves against gremlins.
Yeah.
Also, same deal with the guy who owns the Chinese magic shop there and everything. He just finds them at the end of the movie, and I'm like, wait, so was he looking for them the whole time?
Yeah, he just kind of like turns up and it's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to take Gizmo back. It's all good.
And then I'm guessing he saw the news and it's like, well, now I know where I gotta go to collect my mogwai.
Yeah.
And again, too, the Gremlins, their level of villainy is quite interesting because most of the time they only seem to want to cause chaos. They only want to seem to have fun, be it smoking and drinking and parodying other movies like Flashdance.
Yeah, I like that scene in the bar where they're all like drinking. They feel like they're in like Cheers. You got that one that's like pretending to be like a private investigator
for whatever reason. Like they all have their own characters and personalities. One is dressed like a lady.
Yeah.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, all the Gremlins and Mogwais seem to be gender neutral in this movie. Though I think in the next one there will be some female ones, and I know in the animated series there definitely were female Gremlins.
Yes, they were, yeah.
So, if you're wondering how the hell do gremlins, mate, do they only mate and, procreate via getting water on them via cell division? How does that work? Well, don't worry, someone thought about it. Because, these horrible little monsters out there, you don't think on top of being bloodthirsty, on top of smoking and drinking, they're not also incredibly horny? Well, they probably are.
They probably are, yeah.
See, again, that's why this movie's only PG-13 and not R. In fact, as far as I know, this movie and another one is actually pretty much the whole reason why the PG-13 rating even exists.
Yeah, it was Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom.
Yes, again, two Spielbergs. Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. It's probably benefited from being a PG-13 as well. I can't imagine this being just like a family-friendly PG.
Yeah, because it is a little bit more violent. It's a little bit more threatening. I wouldn't necessarily call it scary. Like, the Gremlins are cool, but I wouldn't know if if I was a child watching this, if I would consider them scary.
No, they're not scary. It's they play up the funness of them a little bit too much. Whereas there is an edit you could make with this film though that would make them scary though, I think.
This is true. They do kill, but they kill very, what's the word? They kill very randomly. They killed that doctor at the beginning, the science teacher, which, isn't it funny? This is another movie where, black guy died first. How do we know?
Yeah.
But it seems like they only killed him because he pissed them off, because he took their blood. It seems like if he didn't do that, maybe they wouldn't have killed him. That was, like, retaliatory.
Yeah, they're very selective on, like, who they kill and who they, like, we're just gonna, like fuck with you a little bit.
They killed Deagle because, because she sucked. They could tell. Gremlins could tell.
Yeah, that was one for the people. They're like, we'll just kill her. We'll give them one. Yeah.
It was also just too funny not to. Like, they run down the Fettermans, but as we find out later, they lived, so they were only kind of trying to kill them. Again, sometimes it's killing, sometimes it's maiming, and because Billy is our main character, and because he feels responsible, it's like, well, shit. I guess I gotta try and do something about this. I guess I gotta try and stop them.
Yeah, and I like through this entire film he's running around obviously with Gizmo, the baby Yoda on his back, in like a box with no lights. I do like that they keep that consistent as well, whereas they don't like set that rule up and then like immediately break it. No, they keep we got to go into this room and turn all the lights off, or like put Gizmo in like covers where the light can't reach him or anything like that.
I was thinking about character arcs too, because not a lot of characters in this movie have what you could call an arc. It's not really a problem, it's just something I kind of noticed. Billy starts off responsible and kind of remains responsible for the rest of the movie. I guess he does ultimately work up the courage to talk to the girl, because, the Gremlins take over Kate's bar. Hilariously, she continues to serve them, which again, just very nonchalant, not freaking out. It's like, well, I work for tips, so here's hoping the Gremlins tip, so I better help out wherever I can.
Yeah, job's a job,
Job's a job. Oh, I mean, in this economy, I can't reserve service to any Gremlins.
Yeah, the bar's never been busier,
yeah. So this situation does allow them to come together in a situation where I suppose they would never have come together before, and when they feel like their lives are in danger, she opens up to him about the sad story about her father and why she doesn't like Christmas. And I'm like, I guess if they weren't in this situation, she might not have told him that until the third date or something.
Yeah.
Something about the fear of death that gets you to open up.
Yeah, but it's interesting because you would think that he would kind of learn something. He would learn that responsibility, or like someone in the film would, and I guess maybe they kind of do at the end, like with the father and everything. But like also the movie is missing like that human antagonist sort of thing outside of Mrs. Deagle, where it's like you think his friend from work who was like ribbing on him at the start about being a failure,
come back, right?
Would come back into town and be like, oh, what the hell's going on here, and then like I don't know, get comically killed by one of the Gremlins.
Supposedly there are a fair amount of deleted scenes, but I think they were just really short, where they're like, well, this doesn't add much, we can probably cut this so the movie moves along faster. And it does. This movie moves at a lightning fast pace. There's like very little fat on this one, as was the case with 80s movies like this. This is a movie that doesn't get bogged down in pretty much anything. It's also a movie that does a thing I love where they reference other movies. The Gremlins decide to take over the local movie theater, which over Christmas in 84 just so happened to be doing a screening of Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, the Disney movie. And I'm like, oh shit, they actually got to show some clips from this Disney movie. Holy crap.
Yeah, and the Gremlins are in there all having fun, singing hi-ho. Yeah.
Which is a banger. If you're going to play any one, that's definitely the one to play from it. And as I was thinking there, I'm like, oh yeah, this kind of makes sense when we break it down, because Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was the first feature-length animated film. You know, it moved technology further in a way people didn't think possible for movie making. And here the Gremlins are pushing puppetry and animatronics and, you know, other stuff forward in a way that had never been done before. And they kind of kicked off their own revolution when it came to special effects. So I'm like, so it's like game recognized game in a way.
Yeah, kind of respecting the past with what they're doing now with all these practical effects.
Mm-hmm. You think Billy got in trouble for blowing up the movie theater, though?
Maybe. You just blame it on the Gremlins. It's fine.
It was the Gremlins. The Gremlins did it.
The Gremlins also attacked the Futterman property. They ripped down his antenna, and he blames the TV because the TV's not an American TV. It's one of those cheap commie TVs.
Yeah, you know, back in the war, during like the RAF days and everything, they would actually call anything that went wrong with their planes, they would blame it on gremlins. They would call it a gremlin problem, because gremlins are, of course, creatures from folklore. And I find it funny that he blames all of the technology for that. And I'm like, was Fetterman a vet? Did he hang out with the RAF guys? Is that why he brought this idea home? It's kind of interesting that he blames any problem with technology, foreign or domestic, on gremlins.
Yeah, probably. But also, there's that thing where it's like, it's just, you know, classic 80s, you know, I guess racism, or, you know, classism. It's like, xenophobia. It's like, it's just something that's not American.
Furthermore, here's a question I want to know. What was the thing he was watching before his TV went out? It looked like Santa taking his pants off on a roof, like he was going to shit down the chimney or something. What was that from, is my thing.
I don't know, but I also took it as like, is that like kind of like a reference to Kate's story about her father?
You might be onto something there.
Yeah, was that like a vestige of like that being part of like several characters' story or something?
Maybe. Yeah. Another thing that I kind of stumbled upon when I was like looking in to alternative readings on this movie, because I always like to know, you know, what people are thinking, and, you know, especially people who might put too much stock into the movie. I think you and I are both of the mind, what is Gremlins about? Well, it's about gremlins. I did hear an interesting theory, and I wanted to get your 2 cents on it. Gremlins is a movie about the adolescent rejection of adulthood. Because you think about it, these gremlins, they start off young and cute and very childlike before they are eventually corrupted into these darker, twisted, older versions of themselves who all they want to do is drink and smoke and murder. And at the end of the movie, Gizmo defeats the leader of the evil, corrupted Mogwai by using stuff from a toy store.
Yeah, using like kids' toys, and Yeah,
and it's also a movie that takes place at Christmas, which is magical for all children, but you hit a point when you get older, when you get more responsibility, when suddenly it's not as magical as it was. You start getting the holiday stresses, especially if you're a kid like Billy, who, as we're told repeatedly, is the main breadwinner of the family. So whether or not his family is going to have a happy Christmas really comes down to him and how well he's doing at the bank, even though in reality he doesn't want to do any of that. He's an artist. He wants to follow, you know, his artistic instincts and make comics. And by the end of the movie, they don't really deal with that problem. I mean, I guess in the sequel he does get a better job at a corporation, but a lot of that is kind of left unsaid here.
Yeah, I guess like it's one of those things. It's like they didn't think they were going to do a sequel. They're just like kind of like it's just like a piece of like someone's story. There's a lot of movies back then where it's like it's just like we're not sequel baiting or like, you know, after credits, you know, like we have nowadays. It's just like a little slice of someone's life or something.
I want you to join the Gremlins initiative. Also, I can tell that fan reading is an older reading that actually falls to pieces once you learn the new lore from the 2023 animated thing, where it's like, nah, Gizmo is actually a chill older dude is the thing. It's these new gremlins who are the young, rabble-rousing shit causers and everything. So that idea about, like, lost childhood and, you know, denying becoming a grumpy old man and everything, or a grumpy old woman like Mrs. Deagle, that kind of actually falls to pieces with the new lore.
Yeah, Gizmo's Joe's a boomer and he's complaining about like the younger generation. Yeah.
Literally his entire thing is you kids today. You know, back in my day as a Mogwai, we had to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and everything. We didn't have time to drink and smoke and electrocute each other.
Yeah, we walked 25 miles to work uphill.
Yeah, up the Great Wall of China both ways. Because we're also Chinese, but that doesn't come into play a lot.
No.
I do love that the big battle at the end of this is like in a mall toy store and everything, because that is just putting the extra little icing on the Christmas cake on this one, because they get into a big brawl and they got like baseball bats, and the gremlin pulls out a freaking chainsaw, which is the funniest thing to me. One of those little mini chainsaws, which had to have been fairly new at the time, I'm guessing.
Yeah, the brand new hot Christmas item for 1984. I did like in the scene as well where Billy is moving through the mall and like the gremlin's like hiding in like the shelf with all the toys. One of the toys there is an ET toy, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yes, they love being self-referential, don't they? Because in ET, he sees a kid in a Yoda costume, and they're sure to play a little of the Star Wars theme.
Yeah.
I watched that whole John Williams documentary just recently, and there was like file footage where they were asking, even back then, a young John Williams, do you think people are going to get that? Think people are going to get that music joke if we put that in? And they did.
Yeah.
That John Williams documentary is great, by the way. It's on Disney Plus. Watch it if you haven't.
It's very good, yes.
Yeah. And you know what else is good? Gremlins.
Gremlins, yeah. So, they plan on killing all of the gremlins who are in the cinema. They plan on... They just got to burn down the cinema with them all in it. They're going to blow it up with gasoline, and they cut the gas lines, and then also like tip a bunch of gas out, and then they blow it up. They kill all the gremlins in there, but Stripe escaped because he saw candy across the road and wanted to go get some candy.
You see, he's a very hedonistic character, this Stripe. You know, he has no loyalty to anything or to anyone. You know, he's driven solely by desire. I mean, like, I'm half joking, but I'm like half right, too.
Yeah, you are half right. And then that leads to the big department store where Billy and Kate and Gizmo have to go and, like, find where Stripe is. And Stripe's like, he's looking for water, and he finds some in the department store in, like, the like, greenhouse section. Yeah, he's got, like a pond, like, what do you call them? Like a fountain sort of thing. Bird bath.
You can tell this is the 80s, because how absolutely lavish and over-the-top is that gardening section in this mall. It looks like frickin' Shangri-La with how beautiful it is.
Well, just how lavish is that mall in general?
True enough.
Know? And that's the thing. This is like a small town. That's like a massive mall too. It's like a massive mall.
Yeah, I live in a small podunk town with a main street like this, and trust me, that mall does not look like that in the town where I live. Then again, this was the 80s where all malls were thriving and doing really well. Not now, where most malls are freaking ghost towns because the people who built them as tax shelters aren't getting the tax shelters that they used to.
Yep.
Got a freaking empty Orange Julius, a Foot Locker that's collecting dust. No. This actually had a lot of stores that were worthwhile. So it's a race against time. You know, can we open the windows and can we kill this thing with sun? Because we have literally been fighting all night long against the gremlins before it can get to the garden department and make more.
Yeah, it's thrown like saw blades at Billy using the chainsaw. It finds the gun, which it's just like such a hilarious visual of this like puppet holding like a gun trying to kill a kid.
And yet not the most hilarious thing they hold in this movie. There's a bit at the bar we totally forgot to talk about, but the puppet gremlins have finger puppets on, so it's a puppet within a puppet.
Yeah, and they're doing like little puppet shows to each other,
which is, I feel like that just had to be like, that was a bone they threw the puppeteers. Hey, here's a joke just for you guys.
Yeah.
And it works.
It works. Yeah, it's good.
It's a good bit. Much as the action, in this is pretty solid, and I imagine had to be pretty hard to film, because how do you realistically, put together a fight scene and choreograph a battle against a puppet?
Yeah, the logistics would have to have been fucking nightmare.
Yeah, again, I get the feeling that as much as we love the movie, the people who worked on the movie did not have a good time making it.
Yeah, or maybe they did. Maybe it was really fun using some of these puppets. They look like they were pretty fun to use.
And when we eventually get to the big scene too, where they're finally able to throw the windows open in just enough time, we get probably the best and grossest effect of the whole movie as Stripe starts melting away till we eventually just end up seeing his whole skeleton, and it's like, wow, they did that back in '84 with what they had in terms of special effects. That is amazing that they were able to pull that off, and that it still looks so good.
And it's one of those things, if that was done in a movie nowadays, that movie would probably be rated a lot higher than I imagine it should have been. Because it's gross. It's like gross. Like, he just, like, we see him melt and like half his skeleton, and then like the full skeleton that turns into like this weird writhing goo. It's great. Yeah. It looks so good.
And like the water turns a gross shade too, because they killed him post like cell dividing. So it's like, ugh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, don't drink that water. Don't drink that soup.
No. Yeah, it's soup. I'm glad you said it is totally a soupy, viscous consistency. And once that's done, basically the movie just kind of rushes to the finish line there. The family, including Kate, now are back at home. They're watching on the news everything that went down as the news anchor there kind of recaps the movie up into the point. And did you catch who that newsman was? I did.
Who is it?
That is Tom fucking Bergeron, better known as the host for basically my entire life for America's Funniest Home Videos and Hollywood Squares. He worked for NBC during that era, where he basically hosted goddamn everything. And I could not believe that was a young Tom Bergeron, who the dude basically didn't age a day. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, fuck off, it's Tom Bergeron. Holy shit.
Damn, that's damn cool.
It is. I wonder, I have to assume that's probably how he started his career, as like a local newsman, and that's probably why they cast him in the role of local newsman.
Yeah, but that's true.
So yeah, they do that. Again, the family, I've said it before, but I'll say it again, just nonchalant as hell. They are together for Christmas. That was kind of a subplot too. Mm-hmm. The dad was at like an inventor convention, but once he realized shit was going down, I guess he learned a lesson about what was important to him, because he dropped all of it and came home just in enough time so they could all be together for Christmas. I'm assuming, because the movie starts on Christmas Eve and then bleeds into Christmas morning, so I guess it's Christmas morning by the point the movie actually ends.
Yeah, it makes me question, like, what type of fucking like convention is going on like Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve,
like,
right?
And like Christmas, like, what the fuck?
Well, it is a convention for mad inventors and pie in the sky, creatives and everything. So let's just assume none of these people have families that talk to them anymore.
Yeah, they're all loners and everything. Yeah,
we had like robots and time machines and all sorts of other stuff. And in my head too, I'm like, well, what was that movie like? What's the movie of this convention and all these weirdos who are here Christmas Eve?
Yeah. Can we get that? Can we get like the bar scene with all these weirdos where Rand's got his smokeless ashtray that's just billowing smoke.
Love that. I love that. I love getting to see like what an old-timey gas station used to look like before everything became Quick Trips and 7-Elevens and everything, where it's just about trying to sell more candy than gas. I'm like, yeah, this is what gas stations used to look like. And but you figure where it's like, okay, well, what are they going out on now? Well, the old Chinese store owner makes a big reappearance. He's tracked the trail of destruction, and he's come to tell everyone, look, I got to take your Mogwai away because you have proven exactly what I said the whole time, and that is that you silly white people will not follow the rules, and you will destroy this as you destroy all of nature's gifts. It's a surprisingly, like, dour's not the right word, but it's a surprisingly moralistic ending to this. And then the fact that they don't even fight him on it, I'm like, okay, so this is going to be like any pet movie, where they're like, no, you can't take our Mogwai away. We love him. He's part of the family. But no, they all pretty much unanimously agree. Yeah, you're right, guy. You really should. We fucked this one up. We biffed it hard.
Yeah, you expect, like, to have that moment where, like, he comes in and he kind of, like, forcibly takes Gizmo away, and then Gizmo's like, no, I want to stay, and he lets him stay, and, you know, they learn that lesson, and, like, okay, in the next one, it'll be better. And there is kind of, like I said before, it doesn't really set up sequel or anything, because the sequel happened, like almost a decade later.
Yes.
In, like, 1989 or something.
Oh, yeah, and it's a wildly different beast, the new batch.
Yeah. Yeah, but like here it kind of also sets up a sequel where like the Mr. Wing, the Asian guy, is like you guys aren't ready for this. We're like hinting at the fact that they will eventually be ready, and we'll see these characters again.
You do with Mogwai what your society has done with all of nature's gifts. You do not understand. You are not ready.
Now, supposedly in an earlier draft of the script, Gizmo undergoes his own metamorphosis. He goes into a cocoon, but he comes out as like a beautiful butterfly creature instead of like a gross, twisted gremlin. So that was a version of the movie we almost got, and I feel like they're like, that might be a little too corny, that might be a little too expensive, but we just can't leave Gizmo here. So, you know, maybe Mr. Wing's got to come take him back, which he does.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that Gizmo didn't go through that transformation, and we just kind of left him as like the cute baby Yoda version. Yeah, I can imagine like it would have been like Gizmo, but with like wings, and like it would have been like a terrible like blue screen effect, probably with him flying around, and
Isn't it funny too that the movie opens with the dad? The dad has narration duty, and it ends on the dad's narration, even though the movie is about Billy and the dad is actually barely in the movie.
Yeah, it feels like there was meant to be a lot more of him.
Yeah, what an interesting choice. And I mean, that actor is a cool actor. Hoyt something or other, he's an American singer-songwriter, and he definitely has like that kind of, you know, hey, I'm Johnny Cash, star quality about him. Supposedly, too, a lot of the scenes where he was like selling the bathroom buddy and everything, that was like straight up improv. They gave him the outline of the script, but he came up with all the physical business and all the other jokes.
It feels like, especially in that first part where like he demonstrates the toothbrush and like the gross green toothpaste, the gross green, really like thin, like watery toothpaste like spurts out on him, and it feels like, that wasn't meant to happen, and he kind of just rolled with it.
All you do is you take your toothbrush out and you push this button. That's no problem. That's absolutely no problem.
Rolled with it, yeah. I make the impossible possible. That sounds just like some good old improving. That sounds like some stage vamping and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically the movie there, and this is lean too. What was the runtime on this? I forgot what the actual runtime was.
It's like an hour 40 or something, but it feels a lot shorter.
Oh yeah, it feels way shorter than it is. Of course, you know, this movie ended up being a massive hit when it came out. I think it made like over $200 million that year, which is saying something because this was a stacked year for movies.
Yeah, as I said, it came out the same day as Ghostbusters, so like it had very stiff competition. I think in the end, I think Ghostbusters did win out, but like for it to make that amount of money in 1984 is insane.
You know, it pushed the envelope as far as technology goes, as what you could do with creatures and special effects. So, you know, I think it was, you know, a big favorite because of that. 10 years later, they would do a sequel in the new batch, which I feel like people like it more now, but I think it went through a longer period of people not liking it as much, because 2 is a wildly different beast. 2 is basically a parody of itself.
Yeah, I had completely forgot. I thought number 2 was one of those instances where like, it's like 10 years later, like none of the original cast or like creatives are back. Maybe you get like one of the side characters, like Dick Miller, you know, Futterman comes back for the role or something. But like, no, this is like, you know, Joe Dante, Zach Galligan, Phoebe Cates, like all of them are back. All of them are back.
And it's even weirder and even more of a parody of it. So Hulk Hogan is in it, as we mentioned. I think that's the scene everyone knows. There's more Gremlins, there's more shenanigans, and it's basically more of a comedy and less of a horror. I know there was talk back in the 80s of making it into a cartoon series, even back then. Because that's what you did when something was big and popular in the 80s, like the Ghostbusters cartoon.
Yeah, you make a cartoon that's vaguely the same as it, but not really. It just kind of has that name.
There was merch. I think there was like a cereal even back in the day, like a full-on Gremlins Gizmo cereal, which is kind of cool. And now they are finally moving ahead with making a third one, and it seems like we're actually going to get to see that happening in our lifetime, which is wild to think about.
I'm intrigued to see what that will be, because they're saying like Chris Columbus is directing this one. He didn't direct any of the other ones. It was all Joe Dante. He's directing it. He's writing it. I don't think they ever mentioned Joe Dante at all in any of the things, which kind of has me a little worried, because I'm like, maybe get the guy who, made the first two involved somehow.
What's he been up to, Joe Dante, in the last couple of years?
Oh man, he has been like working like solid in like TV. He directed episodes of Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh shit!
He's directed stuff of like Hawaii Five-0, a bunch of like horror stuff, like horror anthology stuff. Like he's worked pretty solidly.
So just another one of those like real solid workman directors, big in the 80s, now plying his trade on television, where he can just like, do more work more regularly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, well, that's good. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we can start winding this one down. We've done about an hour. That was Gremlins, everyone. That was your pick. That was your Christmas pick. You asked for this, as my mother would say. You asked for this, so you all better come and watch this one, and you better tell your friends about it. And you know what? I hope you also have a very Merry Christmas, a very happy holiday, whatever you're celebrating, even if you're celebrating nothing, if you're just coming to listen to me and Matt wax poetic and talk about movies for a bit.
Yes. Enjoy your holidays, everyone. I hope we, even if it was just for, an hour and 10 minutes, gave you some reprieve from family, whatever is going on in your life.
Yeah, trust me, you might need it. So here's just us cracking jokes about horny fucking gremlins. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Have a good holiday, and we'll catch you in the new year. We're going to keep doing this show. We've got some, I've got some good movies in my back pocket for this show that I want to expose Joel to, and see which diseases he comes out with. He's going to be like a gremlin. I'm going to expose him to these films, and he's going to turn into something. I don't know what he's going to turn into.
Oh no, it's happening. All right, everyone. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you everyone, and goodbye, and have a happy holiday.
Bye-bye.